Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. As you can tell, this is our very first time to do this, right? We want to thank you. We were having some technical difficulties earlier, and we want to thank you for being here today. My name is Dr. Flores. I'm the Program Director for Educational Talent Search, and this is our very first Talent Search virtual town hall, in case you haven't noticed already. We have two special guests today. One is Ryan Gealow. He is our special guest that will be advising our 11th and 12th grade program, and we have Andres Acosta, who is our virtual program advisor, who will be advising our 7th through 10th grade students. So I want to wish you a welcome to our virtual town hall, and let Mr. Gealow and Mr. Acosta say hi to you as well.
Go for it, Andre.
Well, I'm glad all of you could attend. We're looking forward to seeing how this goes, and hopefully we can implement a lot more in the future so we can interact virtually this way beyond just Discord. But welcome.
And to second that, I just want to welcome everyone. I know that this is a tough time that we're all having to go through. As you can see, we're learning just as you are. And so this is a new platform that we plan on using to bring you talent search news, and I hope you enjoy it.
And so right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint screen with you. You don't have to do anything. It should change everything, and let me know if you can see it. Can you see it, guys?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
If you can see it, they can see it. So basically, today's town hall, let's see if I can, today's town hall meeting is going to include the following items of discussion. We're going to talk a little bit about our virtual program that we've just implemented. And we're going to, we just implemented this about 4 or 5 weeks ago on March the 27th, I believe, 23rd. And we did this as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's going to remain in effect, actually, until further notice, until we get notice from the governor that we're going to actually be going back to school. But you'll need to register for our virtual program in order to receive all the latest information that we're providing for you, because we want to continue to provide you with the services that we have so that you continue to have some sense of regularity and consistency. We know it's been very hard, and that's why we're having these virtual town halls, so that we can meet your needs and talk with you and get you to talk back with us and to have some healthy, authentic discussions. So if you look at the agenda to your left, you'll see that we're going to talk briefly about our virtual program. And then we're going to, I'm going to invite Mr. Acosta to talk about his 7th through 10th grade program, and then invite Mr. Gealow to talk about our 11th through 12th grade programs. Right now, this is going to be 2 parts to our virtual town hall. What we realized, or I came to, I guess my senses, and was that this is the first time for us to have a virtual town hall. And if you're not used to having a virtual communication or providing these type of opportunities, it can be quite challenging as well. So trust me, we both feel it here as well. And the staff feels it, and I'm sure you feel it. So we're going to talk about COVID-19. What do you need to know about this coronavirus? Because that seems to be the topic of discussion right now. And then we're going to have, we're going to be talking about when your first day of school starts, when it starts, what time it starts. I know you have all those questions on your mind. We're going to talk about the ACT, PSAT, SAT cancellations and when they will be rescheduled by College Board and ACT. We're going to give you the opportunity to be one step ahead of your peers, all your other friends that are at home right now doing other things, because we're going to give you that head start by having a virtual advisor, such as Ms. Green, Mr. Acosta, and Mr. Gealow, who will be able to answer any of your questions that you might have. So at this time, I'm going to invite Mr. Acosta. He's going to be your 7th grade through 10th grade, currently your virtual advisor. And I want him to go ahead and share some very important topics of discussion right now with you regarding this coming virtual year. Okay?
Yeah, so as he was talking, we want to move virtually for obvious reasons. And so our vision for Discord is for it to be a platform where you can access the same information you would be able to access if we were having a physical advising session, like when we come to your schools and we pull you out of class. In addition to that, a place where you can reach out to us. You can reach out to your fellow talent search participants, ask any questions, if you have any questions about any specific topic, where we can answer them, pretty quickly. And you don't have to wait for us to come to your school in 3 or 4 weeks. And so you're going to find information about topics we usually talk about, like financial planning for college, goal setting, course selection, types of colleges, exploring career, and every other topic that we usually talk about when we go to your school. And so for me specifically, in terms of Discord, I think short term and long term. In the short term, I wanted to be a place where you guys can come for support, where we can, if you're feeling anxious or stressed, you can reach out to us for support or help. And I also wanted to be a place where you can come get the information you need as it relates to Aldine ISD, whether they're going to open schools, close schools, Houston as a whole, and our country as a whole, so that you guys are properly informed as, the pandemic, as we weather this pandemic together. And in the long term, I want it to be a platform that we grow as time goes on, because it may not seem like it right now because we're so, it's consumed our world, but there is an after the coronavirus. And we don't know exactly when that's going to be, but it's coming. And the world that, we're going to come into after the coronavirus may be a little bit different. And so I attended a webinar a couple of days ago about how colleges are changing their admissions in response to the pandemic. And I was blown away with how much is changing just in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Colleges are taking a moment to think, things are pretty dead right now. We just thought it's a really good opportunity for us to evaluate what we used to admit students, that criteria, and let's see if there's any changes that we have to do. And there are a lot of changes that are coming that you can expect after the pandemic. And the Discord, the Talent Search Discord and Talent Search program as a whole is going to be a really good resource for you as we navigate that new system after the pandemic. So that's my vision for Discord.
We're going to give you a chance, participants, to ask questions specifically to Mr. Acosta for 7th through 10th grade, and then Mr. Gealow for 11th and 12th. And then if you have any other questions about COVID virus, the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, I'll try the best I can to help you. Next, part 2 is going to be about your anxiety and feelings and coping with these things. So Mr. Gealow, would you like to present what your expectations are and what you have coming up for these wonderful 11th and 12th graders?
Sure. So if you're a junior or you're a senior right now on Discord, I hope everybody has had the chance to join. If you haven't, let us know through either the chat here or send us an email, get on our website. Please join our Discord because specifically for the juniors and seniors, we're talking about getting ready for college. So we're talking about scholarships. We're talking about deadlines. We're talking about financial aid, getting in your FAFSA. We're talking about deadlines for scholarships coming up and scholarships that are opening. There have been numerous delays also to the SAT and ACT. We're talking about those dates. We're talking about college survival, tips, dorm life, what the transition to college entails, being financially and economically literate. All those things are things that we normally talk to you guys in person about, but we're going to talk to you through resources that are available digitally on Discord. So some of those topics we've already talked about that we've gone over, but it's an ongoing thread so that Discord allows you to pop in and ask a question about any of those things, or maybe it's just something off the wall. One of the participants actually sent in a question who was a junior over the weekend asking me about what are some tips for my resume? What are some tips for going to an interview? Those are things that we can give you help on, and that's specifically some things that we do focus on because there are college admission interviews, especially for those juniors and seniors really looking for those high Ivy League. If you've got some Ivy League aspirations that you're looking at for college, you're going to have an interview. So what do those tips look like? So some of those things are things that we cover, like I said, personally, but we're going to be covering those through resources, through videos like this. And Andres and I are going to be working together to provide you guys with more on-demand and live videos as we go throughout the pandemic and into the future.
Mr. Gealow, why don't you explain a little bit about Discord? What does that mean? What is Discord actually? And guys, I see that some of you have already raised your hands, that you have questions. We think that's awesome, and we promise we're going to get to every one of them. At the end of this presentation, in about 10 minutes, we're going to have a Q&A. So everybody who's raised a hand and who has a question, we'll make sure that somebody gets an opportunity to answer your questions, okay? Mr. Gealow?
Sure, no problem. So Discord is, if you're not already familiar with it, it started out as like a gaming platform to game with your friends, and you also can chat with them while you're gaming and communicate. And it's sort of blown up into this thing where everybody started to use it, especially during this time, as a way to provide resources, different threads. You may heard of Reddit. Well, this is sort of like a better version of Reddit, if you will, that we can provide specific topics that we are required to bring you, and we're going to bring it to you digitally using this platform. I can actually share my screen here.
And why don't you tell them why we chose, guys, we chose this platform when we realized that that this pandemic was this serious, and we mean serious. And because the college came in one day and said, you got to go home, guys, we're not having anybody here. We realized that we were on the cutting edge of something, because Talent Search has been using virtual instruction with our mentors for quite some time now. And this gave us a perfect segue into having something virtual for you. And rather than me picking something virtual as the director of the program, I wanted Mr. Acosta and Mr. Gealow and Ms. Gonzalez and Ms. Becerra and the mentors and Ms. Green to come up with something that they thought you would enjoy. And I absolutely love this platform. Discord is a virtual platform. It's a way to communicate with each other. If you haven't known about it already, it started off as a gaming platform where people would go on to play video games and have contests. And it just became this wonderful platform for text chatting. And so what we're doing is we're giving you all these opportunities to learn like you would at school, but in a different way. And let me just put this in perspective for you before Mr. Gealow finishes his and shows you a little bit about Discord. I'd like to tell my staff, because this is such a paradigm shift of thinking for us, to go from a setting that's brick and mortar, that has 4 walls, and we're moving from class to class, and now we're doing everything by computer because we have to, for the safety and health of ourselves and those that we love. So it's quite a challenge. It's been a challenge for me. It's been a challenge for the staff, not only to find a platform that we thought you would like by chatting and phoning and live videoing, but something that would keep interest in all of our interests, because we don't know how long this is going to be. So I'm going to let Mr. Gealow talk about it. It's been a challenge. We're going to continue to work. We appreciate your thoughts and your suggestions. So go ahead, Mr. Gealow. Thank you.
Sure. So can you see my screen? Everybody see it? Okay. So if you haven't been on Discord yet, please get on there. We'll send you the link. But I urge all of you to be looking every day, every other day. Hop in here, because Mr. Acosta and I, we do a lot of research every day, every other day on certain topics to bring you information. Miss Becerra posts on the announcements. Miss Gonzalez follows up with everybody on Discord as well. So we really work the best we can to provide you the most updated information, as well as play games like you'll see here on Talent Search Kahoot League. So I urge you to go on here, click on the welcome, click on the frequently asked questions, the announcements. A lot of this is going to have really great information for you. And if you have some friends that want to join, show them this as well, and we can get them in the program. The main thing that I want to get across with Discord is it's accessible no matter where you are, and it's accessible through your phone as well. So if you don't have access to a computer, and maybe you're watching this through your phone right now, there is an app you can download. You can get all of the content that we're providing to you through your computer, whether it's PC or Mac, and through your phone, whether it's Android or Apple. But click through each one of the topics that we provided here, because we have spent a lot of time bringing that to you. Whether it's scholarships, financial literacy, click through your grade level. Mr. Acosta and I have posted specific topics to the grade level that you're in. So, and these are resources that really can help you, whether it's Aldine ISD updates or just updates in general to social distancing and the coronavirus. I'll go ahead and stop the share here.
Hey, so anybody else want to say anything before we move to the next slide and then open this up for questions and answers?
In the chat, I went ahead and posted a link that you can use to sign up for our Discord if you haven't already.
Perfect.
Guys, if you look at the, let's see, am I screen sharing, guys?
No.
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Oh, hang on one second. Let's go back here. Okay. 1 second, everybody. Okay. Slide. Okay. Go back to Zoom. Telling you we're having technical difficulties all day today, but that's okay.
Let me know if you need any
Okay. So what we're
assistance.
going to do is I'm going to share the screen with you, and this is the we're back to the agenda. But you can see everything now, right? Okay.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, we're back
There
to
you
the
go.
agenda, and you see I'm learning, and we're all learning, and we just kind of take this in stride and kind of laugh at ourselves because I mean, what else can you do, right? You can get all mad and upset, and whatever. Why not just laugh at you? You can laugh at me all along, okay? Because I'm going to mess up. I guarantee I'm going to mess up. So if you look at the left side on the agenda, you'll see at the very bottom, that's www.uhd.edu/talent. Please go to that website. We have updated our account. We've updated our webpage. Ms. Gonzalez is in charge of it. Mr. Gealow is in charge of it, and they update it constantly. But I tell you, you're going to find more information on the Discord website if you're a participant, because we update that every single day, multiple times a day. So Mr. Gealow, would you explain to them if they want to participate in Discord or their friends want to participate in Discord? They don't have to be a talent search participant right now. We would like them to be, but we're not going to shut this down. If they want to join, we'll ask them to join our program, because you still get all the same wonderful benefits that the kids and students who don't attend our program get. But we're here to support you guys. We want to make sure you do well in school this year. You know, those seniors that aren't getting to go to their prom yet and aren't graduating yet, you will have your chance. We promise. Everybody's working on that for you. Mr. Gealow, will you please let everybody know how to get onto Discord, please?
Sure. So there is a link Mr. Acosta just posted in the chat. But also, if say you lose this link or you don't know where it's at, please send us an email. Go to the website that Dr. Flores just showed you, which is uhd.edu/talent, or you can do /talent search. Either one will work. And click on the staff button on our website. You will have access to our phone numbers and our emails. And I want you to send us an email if you or your friend needs access to the Discord. We'll be happy to provide that to you or your friend.
And guys, we understand that not everybody wants to go to college. Not all of our seniors or juniors do. I have many, many young friends, or my daughter's friends, that don't want to go to college, but they want to go to trade school. We're here to support you with trade school as well, because you can make a really good living. And when I say trade school, I mean wonderful professions like refrigeration and air conditioning, cosmetology, aestheticians, things that people use all the time, people that have their nails done, their hair cut. If your air conditioner goes out in the summer, you have to have somebody come fix it. If you got a pipe break or something like that, you have to have somebody to come fix it. So these are all great jobs to have right now. And we realize that with so many millions of Americans out of that are unemployed right now, things are tough. Things are really, really tough. And so we encourage you to reach out to us. We encourage you to reach out because we keep track and we keep ourselves educated and on top of what do we do if you're unemployed? How, I can't get through the unemployment line. What are some tips to do that? We can reach out for you and find those tips out for your parents even, because so many people have lost their jobs. Well, are my parents eligible for that stimulus check that my 80-year-old parents just got yesterday? And they're on Social Security. So if your grandma's on Social Security, or your auntie or your uncle or your mom or your dad or whomever, they're eligible for it too. So we can help you with that if you just reach out to us. We know it's a difficult time. We're not here just about school. Yes, we want you to graduate from high school. Yes, we want you to go to college. Yes, we want you to graduate from college. But more importantly today, we want you to feel safe and secure. And we want you to know that as a talent search group at University of Houston downtown, we're here to support you any way you need. So no question is not going to be answered. And we're going to have that in just a few minutes, but I'm going to move into the next phase of our, we're almost like 20 minutes into the program, and I don't want to take too much of your time since we're going to have another part to this. So give me 1 second. Let me get back to my mail. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you show you the slide. Let me share this with you for a second. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
That's the agenda
Yes.
and virtual town hall. Okay, so our next slide is going to be what is coronavirus? What is this all about? And so this is what the scientists suggest the coronavirus looks like. And the coronavirus is basically a virus that is part of SARS and MERS. And it's so hard to listen to one type of news station or paper. I encourage you as high school students to try to become more scholarly in terms of find out who's telling the right news, who's giving you the truth, because this is really, really important when it comes to, you're hearing a lot of things on TV, you're hearing a lot of people's opinions, and we try to be as university employees, we try to be as objective as possible and look at everything through a scientific model. So I wanted to show you exactly what the scientists think this virus looks like. And if you see the little prong sticking out, this is a virus. I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head from what I know about it right now, but this is a virus that's highly contagious. The reason it's become a pandemic and not an epidemic is because an epidemic is regional and an epidemic is local. These pandemics become global. And with, maybe we haven't had a pandemic of this nature in over 100 years. So you can see why everybody is a little concerned about this virus and how we don't have a vaccine for it, which means that if you contract it, you're going to get sick unless your body has the immunity and the immune system that can fight it. And some people do and some people don't. So if you're hearing about things like, it's killing older people, well, that's not necessarily true. It is affecting everybody. It's affecting children. It's affecting students your age. It's affecting people my age. It's affecting people your grandparents' age. And the reason we're seeing more deaths, and I hate to use that word, with older people is because as you get older, your immunity system breaks down. You don't have the same immunity system that you do as a 17-year-old or a 14-year-old. a teenager, because you've been on this planet for a while. So basically, I wanted to tell you a little bit about it and dispel some of these myths. And it is highly contagious. And if you know how to get it, or if you know how you can contract the disease, then you're better off, because you can help and prevent it. One of the ways, it's a viral disease, which means it's not bacterial, which they don't have any antibiotics to cure it. They're really working rapidly to find a vaccine for it, much like when you have your vaccines for school. That's why they're important. You'll have the polio vaccine, you'll have the measles vaccine, you'll have different types of vaccines that the state thinks you need to have, so things like this don't happen. So I urge you to please listen to your state officials. I'm going to give you some websites at the end of this program, and we're going to post them on Discord for you. So please be a participant. This is going to give you accurate knowledge from the Texas Health and Human Services Department out of Austin. Now, no matter what happens, the governor of the state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, is the one that can issue executive orders letting people know what we're going to do as a state and what we're not going to do as a state. You've probably been hearing the news that Texas is one of the few states that's going to start opening things. Well, is that dangerous? Some experts think it's very dangerous. Some people think we need to open stores and businesses again to help the economy so people can get back to work. But the fact of the matter is, if people get back to work and they continue to get sick, that's not going to really help anything. So we need you to help do your part in helping eradicate and mitigate this virus. And when they ask you to walk outside and put a bandana around your face or buy a mask, just to let you know, I don't have a mask. I can't buy one. And the ones I bought aren't coming till the middle of May. So what good is that going to do me, right? Well, it's going to do me not good, but I have to be socially responsible, and I have to find a way to cover my mouth. So we're going to be talking about things of that nature during our next part. What to believe, how is it spread, what can you do to support it, and what can you do to help everybody stay healthy. So at this time, we're going to discontinue this part, and we're going to continue part 2 at another time. But before that, we're going to move back to you, because that's why we're here. And we're going to have you open up questions. So if you raise your hand, Mr. Gealow is going to talk first of all about procedures. And he's going to go through this every time, because we have to have an orderly fashion in order to be able to answer all of your questions. And this is probably one of the very last times you might see me. I'll probably turn this over to Mr. Gealow and Mr. Acosta. You'll see me occasionally as your director to come talk to you about things. I'm happy to support you and your family. If you need Spanish support, please call us. We have Spanish speakers in the office. We can translate things in Spanish for your parents, or any other language for that matter. Okay? So at this time, I know you have a lot of questions. I've seen a lot of hands raised. I don't see how many I have right now, but I'll have to look while Mr. Gealow is going to explain to you how to answer questions and how we can hear you. Okay? And we can see your wonderful face on the screen.
Sure. So what we can do is you can either type your question into the chat box and make sure that if you do that, type it and don't like constantly spam the chat box is what we don't want. Okay. So ask your question, allow us to answer, and then if you have another question to follow up, then we can move from there, okay? So if you have like 10 or 20 questions, allow us to just sort of answer them one by one, okay?
We'll do the best we can.
Yes. And then there's also a Q&A box that we can use if you want to. If you'd rather anonymously ask your question in there, there is an anonymous question box that is check marked. So if you don't feel comfortable with, throwing your name out there with the question you have, you don't have to.
So how would we respond to those anonymous questions?
So what we'll do is all the questions that pop up in the Q&A box down below, we can do our best to answer those right now and then post them into Discord for a later time for them to come back and view, or any of our other participants for that matter.
The 8 or 9, 10 participants we have, do we have any questions at this time?
Yeah, go ahead and post any questions that you guys have, whether it's in the Q&A box or chat box.
What if
please.
what if they want to talk and ask you personally? How do they do that? What are your protocol?
If there is a personal matter that you need to speak with us about, there is private messaging in Discord that you can always ask us. And if it's something that we think pertains or would apply to all of the participants, what we'll do is we'll make sure that you remain anonymous, and we'll post the question and answer in a Q&A, sort of like a webinar Q&A section on Discord.
So right now, let's say we have a participant, either Alaya, Abria, somebody that wants to ask a question. How do they know that you're going to call on them? And then how do they actually get on the screen with us?
So we can allow them to talk, but we would have to promote them to panelists is what we would have to do if you want to see them.
Okay.
But we can hear them talk if we give them the option.
I'd like next time for us to be able to see everybody, and for everybody to be able to talk if they want to be seen. And guys, one thing I want to share with you is the reason we're using Zoom right now is because it's fairly simple to use, right, guys? You can't tell by me running this meeting right now, but it is. And we want you to be able to use this technology if you don't already know about it when you get into school or when you're having to do group projects, because doing group projects virtually is a lot more difficult than it is when you're sitting next to them in the classroom, okay? Because you're gonna have people that aren't always gonna be those team players. So we wanna teach you, see how you can look at Mr. Gealow's background and you'll see my background. Those are virtual backgrounds. They're very easy to do and they make your presentation look better. So the reason we're doing this is we wanna only help you as well have better presentations when you get to school, when you're in job interviews, when you're broadcasting, podcasting, blogging, whatever it might be, okay? So let's start with our first question.
We don't have any.
Okay, I'm sure we do. Let's look. Okay. I see one. Ms. Gonzalez has one. Okay. Can we hear you? Okay. Can you hear me, Ms. Gonzalez? I hope I didn't like kick her out of the room. I might have. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay, who else would like to ask a question then? We'll get back to her. Okay, I've got 2 messages down here. Let's see. Okay. What kind of questions do you have come into your mind, Mr. Gealow? Because if we don't have any, then I'll go ahead and give my end speech and we'll be good, okay? We're not sharing the screen right now, are we? No, okay.
Right.
Okay.
My question was pertaining to, when are we going to return back to normal? I think that a lot of people are very anxious. They're crawling up the walls. They want to get out. They want to get back to normal. Some may be tired of or frustrated, I guess, with social distancing, and they just kind of want to know when are we going to get back to normalcy. We already know school's canceled for the rest of the year, but I mean, who knows how long this is going to last, and who knows, they're talking about maybe a resurgence in the fall. We don't know. So
I think that's the $1 million question right now. Everybody wants to know. And I'm going to let you know what the president of the University of Houston has said, what the other leaders in the community have said, from the mayor to the governor, and that is we have to take things one day at a time. We don't know. We saw the devastation in New York City. We saw that as a hotspot. We saw the devastation in New Orleans as a hotspot. We're beginning to see the devastation in Detroit. We're beginning to see the devastation everywhere. And that's because this virus doesn't attack everybody at the same time. It was brought over, we believe, from China through aeronautics, through airplanes, and it started in Washington State. So whoever has been contaminated or infected the most is where you're going to see it move. And so it's natural and it's normal to see it move from different parts of the region of this country. Now it's moving from the West Coast to the East Coast to the South states, the Southern states. Now, I know you're reading in the newspaper that, oh my God, Houston doesn't have that many cases. You know, we're doing great, we're doing fabulous. Don't let your guard down, folks. That doesn't mean much. What it means is we don't have the tests that are capable of testing people in the city. So if you don't have the test to test if you're positive or negative, how do you know, what is your data? How do you know how many people are really infected? So don't let those numbers be misleading. Continue to be safe. Continue to wear your mask or your shield or whatever you need to wear, okay? But as soon as we know, we'll let you know. That's why it's important that you check that you're a member of our Discord team and that you're a member of this, because anytime something happens, immediately I'll let my staff know and we send email blasts out to everybody. So we want to keep you informed, and we're good informers. Anybody
There's been
else?
a couple of questions in the Q&A. I'll read them out and we can answer them. So anonymous attendee, the first question says, what about our schedules? Like if we want to get AP classes, I'm assuming for next year.
Okay. Well, that's another good question. And it's interesting because my dissertation was on AP, advanced placement courses. Right now, I'm going to say sit tight. Nobody really knows. Your counselors are overwhelmed. Principals are overwhelmed. Your teachers are overwhelmed. I probably don't even think they figured that out yet, guys. So I know you're anxious. I know you're thinking about next year, but take a deep breath. We're going to get through this together, and we're going to have those answers for you. And so as soon as we know from your school or from your school district, actually, we'll know. And so I'm glad you asked that question, because now we're going to ask that question to Aldine ISD. So thank you for that, or whatever other school. So check Discord.
Another anonymous attendee asked, are we going to start school normally for the next school year?
Well, I'm not sure what normally means. Do you mean like normal start to August?
I mean late August. Think they mean that.
Again, guys, we just don't know. If this virus, if Houstonians have done what they're supposed to have done, and that's self-isolate themselves and not be out. And the reason they're asking you to wear these masks is so you don't infect anybody, because you don't know if you're infected if you're not tested. And so if we can continue to do what we're asked to do and stay home, then chances are this virus will pass quicker than not. If we don't, and we continue to go to parks and we continue to go to places where we're exposing ourselves to others and their germs and their viruses, then this may hit in 2 weeks. This may hit in 3 weeks. I know that they didn't even expect Houston to really get hit until May 4th. And when I say hit, I mean that's when most people will be getting infected and getting sick. Remember, this doesn't happen all at the same time. It happens gradually to different cities at different times. So we'll keep you posted on that. That's why it's really important that you attend these virtual meetings. We'll give you the latest information, and we'll have more next week. So keep the answers and keep the questions.
Elsie Martinez asked, oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Are we going to have to repeat the same grade since school is closed for the rest of the school year? Abrea answered, if people don't complete the online work, apparently receive the lowest passing grade.
So what that's saying is, yes, you're going to be passed. Okay, unless you just absolutely don't do one thing. This is considered a natural disaster, an emergency disaster, and they're not going to penalize you for not being able to do your work. I would say do your work. You don't want to miss out of that education, because when things do go back to normal and you don't have that education because you didn't do it while we were on this lockdown, so to speak, then you're going to be behind. So make sure, just because nobody's watching you, and that's the nature of taking online classes, is there for some people, and some people who don't like them. Personally, I can't do them. I have to have face-to-face, but this is a new learning experience. So my suggestion is do your work, do as much as you can, and turn it in, and you're going to get promoted. Everybody out there is going to get promoted. We'll double check them.
And to add to that, it's like Dr. Flores says, they're not going to penalize you for what's going on because it's affecting people differently and it's affecting people adversely. On Discord, we posted the updated grading policy that are being released. For the fourth finalists, they aren't going to penalize you if that grade, that average, is lower than your third 9 weeks. So you're going to go to the next grade, and your grade from here can only go up. It can't go down as long as you do your online work. So I would encourage you to do so.
Just to add to that, it's our understanding that, and you feel free to type in the chat that you have, what was it, Andres, 5 assignments?
Per class, up to 5 assignments per course.
Okay, up to 5 assignments per course that you will have or that you've already been notified of within the past week that you will have to complete as well. And we realize that that is a lot. And so what myself and the rest of the talent search staff have done when we're talking about Discord and we're talking about the Kahoot Talent Search League, basically, that we created, where there's some fun quizzes about topics we're covering or COVID-19, coronavirus, or anything. We're making it open for an entire week, and we'd like you to engage in it, but we're not saying this is the only time something is open for you to complete it. It's something that you guys can come back to, and that goes for even just the general information that we've posted on Discord. We want you, we're not going to erase the information that's there, is what I'm saying. We want you to be able to come back and get that information, or maybe you forgot the answer to one of the questions, even through a Zoom meeting like this. We want to be able to provide that information to you so that you can always come back and find it at a reliable place.
Mr. Gealow or Mr. Acosta, would you like to discuss the Amazon Fire tablets that we're giving away?
Sure.
And talk about how, their participation, and that includes the league, the Kahoot League.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, all of you may have read the email. Hopefully you did a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that went out stating your participation in possibly winning an Amazon Fire tablet. It's the 8-inch HD Fire 10 and 8-inch, I'm sorry. And yeah, so we can't spend that much money, I guess. But it's a very nice tablet, and we want you to be able to participate in Discord, participate in the Kahoot League. And those that participate the most, ask questions, post comments, help your other peers, invite friends to the program. Those that participate the most are going to be put into, would you say drawing would be correct?
A random drawing.
Random drawing.
It would be it's not a raffle. It's an incentive drawing.
Right. So this, so we're calling it the incentive drawing, and we will draw those names that have participated the most. Okay. So what's going to happen is a participant from each grade level in this program will receive one of these tablets. Okay. And with a case, I believe it was. So there's a tablet and a case.
Their choice color.
Your choice
Okay.
of color. Mm-hmm.
So guys, we will be doing incentives like this as long as we're doing a virtual program. Okay. And those of you that do not have computers or laptops, please email me directly. I can't promise we can get you one, but we can promise that we'll give you access to one somehow, some way. Okay. And if the school district's going to require you to be working from home, and we're going to ask you to participate from home, then it's my obligation and responsibility to make sure that we help you with that. So I'm going to give you some closing statements right now, but I want to thank you first of all for participating today. Next town hall meeting is going to be completely different. It's going to be more of a interaction and engaging town hall meeting where you actually get to talk about some of the things I'm going to bring up right now. So I wanted to take this moment to be able to have a town hall meeting with you and invite our panelists with you to talk about COVID-19 and the pandemic that we're experiencing right now. And part of mitigating that virus is to execute social distancing. Now, I know you've heard about social distancing, and it's a term applied to certain actions that are taken by public health officials to stop or slow down the spread of highly contagious diseases. And for more information on how to practice social distancing, because it should relate to going out to the public, when you're traveling, when you're how to stay healthy, when you're visiting family, when you're visiting friends, etc. So for the past 5 weeks, your school's been closed, the school district's been closed, and so is the University of Houston downtown. And the reason they're closed is their intent was to avoid the potential of spreading the virus to more people. Now, this is becoming our new normal, and you're going to hear that word a lot, our new normal, because it's been quite challenging for not only us at Talent Search, but for you, your parents, your friends, probably even your pets. And as a result of practicing social distancing to further curtail the spread of COVID-19, it's not uncommon for us to feel anxious, to feel anxiety, to be depressed, to feel grief-stricken, to feel stressed out. And for different people, it could be a combination of these things. I can tell you, I've spoken to the staff, part of the staff that you're seeing now and part of the staff that you aren't seeing right now. We've all been anxious. We've all been depressed. We've all had grief, and we've all been stressed out. Now, as adults, if we're feeling that way, we know that some of you must be feeling that way. And to know that I'm feeling anxious and I have anxiety for myself, and not only for myself, but for my family and my coworkers about their health. But it's not just the anxiety about getting the coronavirus. It's also about what's happening to society, what's happening to our economy, what's happening to our friends, what's happening to our relatives, what's happening to my grandma or my grandpa. And so there's a lot of grief. There's a lot of grief out there right now. And we acknowledge that we've all lost something because of this virus and because of this, right? I mean, I know I have, I'm pretty sure you have lost something. I can tell you, I've lost my day-to-day interactions with people. I'm having to do this virtually now. I've lost my ability to physically connect with, my family. And that makes it more challenging to become socially connected to people. I've lost the sense of certainty because I have no self-power anymore. I can't just go out and go shopping anymore without wearing a mask or the fear of being infected. So I get it, and I think we all get it. We've lost a lot more than we think we have. And it's difficult. It's difficult to process that. And so it's important, I think, in my opinion, to talk to somebody about maybe any anxiety or depression you're experiencing, grief, stress, or fears, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. But it's also critical to our mental health that we get it out in the open, we talk to somebody we can trust about it, who may or may not be going through the same thing, and that you're spending time figuring out a way to socialize and gain back your self-power by Zooming your friends, by attending our Zoom town halls, by talking more to your parents now that you have a chance to, by talking more to your grandparents, getting your parents involved, getting your grandparents involved in your life again. We get so busy that we forget family. Or just talking on the phone, simple as talking on the phone to somebody. Keep yourself social, exercise, go outside, take a walk, but remember to keep your social distance of 6 feet. So my staff and I, Mr. Acosta and Mr. Gealow and Ms. Green and Ms. Gonzalez and Ms. Becerra and the student workers and the mentors, we're all committed to providing you with the opportunity to receive your college readiness information virtually this summer and this year. So we're going to be providing you with the resources to help you get adjusted to this new normal, because we're getting adjusted to this new normal. And it's not easy and it's difficult. And we want to be here to help you. So first of all, I want to thank you for attending today's Zoom meeting. That's a step in the right direction, and that's a step in your self-empowerment in socially connecting with others. It's also helps you understand and be connected and consistent with your education. So if you have any questions regarding coronavirus or anxiety or depression or grief or stress or fears, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, but we can give you the resources you need to make sure that you're okay and that anybody in your family is okay. We want to make sure you're okay. And so we're going to continue to have these healthy conversations about ways that this pandemic is affecting us, because this is a once in a lifetime event, we hope. And we're going to try to help you find resources to coping with these strategies that might help you get through this difficult time, and us. And so if you're interested in joining more of these town hall meetings where we're engaged a little more and we're talking a little more about what's really important, please look at our website, look at Discord. We're going to be sending these out. Ask your friends to attend. We're going to be more engaged. You're going to be able to be on the camera next time so we can see who you are if you want to be. So we want to thank you for today and your time. And today was really just an informational town hall. We wanted to let you know that we're here to support you and we're here for you. And we're not going to let our responsibility of teaching you how to do better in school and get into college slip away because of some pandemic. We wanted to make sure that you still had the opportunity to learn, and you still had the opportunity to gain this knowledge that your friends may not. So we encourage you and your friends to please register, be with us. We're here to support you. And with that, I want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week or the week after. Thank you.